Hi everyone, welcome to Amaranth. Thank you for joining us here. These messages are for all signs, for the collective, for the upcoming new moon. Let's get into it. So on January 18th and 19th, we will have our first new moon, and it's the beginning of a new lunar cycle for the 28-day lunar cycle. Now, the new moon means that it's in between the earth and the sun, so it's not going to be visible to us. It's going to be a dark sky, and because there is no moonlight, the other lesser brighter stars and galaxies and all that will be available to for viewing. So for those of you that are stargazers that have telescopes, you can check that out, and some star clusters or galaxies might be visible to you through the telescope, so you might see that. But the moon is invisible doesn't mean it's not there. It's still there. But spiritually, what does it mean for us? Moon rules our inner world, our psyche, our subconscious. And here, again, if we see, it's kind of a conjunction of the moon and the sun. So it's a new cycle that's starting for us, even spiritually. And because it's in the constellation of Capricorn, it's in the sign of Capricorn at 28 degrees. So all of those goals and ideas and structures around the theme of Capricorn will surface. So it'll depend now where the sign of Capricorn is in your birth chart, whether it's in the first house, second house, third house, and you'll have to see what those energies are for those houses. Like if it's in the first house, like if you're a Capricorn rising, then Capricorn new moon is in your first house of self. So you will be starting up something in regards to yourself, your maybe the way you dress, the way you carry yourself, some personality, some upskilling and things like that. So your attention will go towards those goals. If it's your second house, then you will start something around the theme of second house, which is Taurus. So you'll have to look up those themes of those houses. I cannot explain all of those themes for all the houses in this video, but I'm just telling you that it's going to be different for each one of you, and you will have to go into your birth chart to see where Capricorn is sitting in your birth chart, which house it is. And you will also need to look up the theme for that house so as to understand where your goals and structures and building and commitment and energy and time will be devoted to in the next weeks, in the next few weeks. So I do see a lot of you will be thinking about those areas that you want to create a solid foundation, long-term structures, and it will require some patience because Capricorn is an earthy sign. So you will be working towards creating something solid, which can be seen. A structure, that's what Saturn does to us, right? It's a karmic planet. It's a planet of discipline and structure. So you will be disciplined. You will have to be committed. You will have to be patient. You cannot rush this process. You cannot rush the outcomes. You cannot rush your decisions. You cannot be impulsive. Impulsive sign is Aries. That's a different story. We'll get to it when we get there. But right now, Capricorn is not the sign of rushing through things. It's a patient sign. Generally, 10th house is a house of Capricorn. Collective Capricorn energies are about, working hard, of endurance, of creating that legacy for yourself, of building solid foundations, of being mature and well-planned and thought out strategies and thought out plans to create that structure for yourself. So you will see that you will be working, your focus will shift towards the Capricorn house energies, wherever that house is for you, and you will try to build a structure that will simplify your life in that area. Now, if your Capricorn house is, like, for example, the fifth house is the house of creativity, the house of children, the house of partners even, or new relationships and things like that. A lot of things with the fifth house, but I'm just like kind of scraping the surface on it. So if your Capricorn is fifth house, then you will be thinking about those goals, like, or simplifying things, or creating structures around your kids, or have some structure around what you want to create, or simplify your life, maybe simplify your partnerships, or the way you deal with partnerships, something like that. So it's like, when you lay the foundation, you lay the first stone or the first brick. That's the energy of this new moon. So think things through, sit with yourself. You will need some time and space so that you think about it. And these emotions, these thoughts will surface from the psyche. It will come to you. And when you reflect on these, you will be able to decide like which, you'll start planning around it. You will start, kind of strategizing, aligning your resources, and you will start putting in the work in that area. So you will see yourself being disciplined in a certain area, which is going to be different from what you have been doing. And you will care for it. You will create a structure and you will grow. You will, this is a period of growth. But just be honest with your work and honest with your intentions. And now let's look at the cards that will provide the guidelines on how you can create structures and how you can focus on these Newman energies. So the first card you have here is Jupiter. And if you look at the image, it shows this face over here, but there are two aspects to it. One is the emotional side, and it also shows the intellectual side. You can see the life of Mercury. So basically, this Jupiter energy will, connect you to your heart's desires and how you can manifest it. So it's kind of that hook. So when you sit in silence, when you introspect, your psyche will speak to you about what your heart desires. And then Jupiter will give you the tools, the knowledge, the understanding of how to put it together. It'll help you understand the bigger picture. So now you will be out and about looking for resources, the tools, the funding, the budget on how you can manifest your heart's desires. Because Jupiter energy will help you grow. That's what the energy is about: expansion, about growth, about evolution. Now, the only caveat with this is that you will be able to manifest. Like whatever you have your desires set at, you will put your mind, heart, and energy into it because the new moon in Capricorn, it will create a structure around it. So you will be able to put the energy, effort, and time and manifest what you want. But the only thing is that after you have achieved your goals, don't brag about it because, Jupiter energy is, has two warnings with it. One is no excesses, and second is know yourself. So self-awareness, understanding what you're capable of, maybe upscaling so that you can achieve your goals. And also, once you've achieved it, then keep it low-key. Don't exaggerate it or don't brag about it or don't, blow your trumpet. So those are the warnings that come with this energy. Now, there's a lack of Mercury over here, which means that it'll help you break down your goals into smaller parts, and then you can start working at it one step at a time, one thing at a time, and create that whole bigger picture. That's Jupiter is a whole big picture, and Mercury will break it down. So look at Jupiter like a whole forest, and Mercury is like the small trees that we plant to create that forest. Now, one more thing you have to be careful about with the Jupiter energy because it rules, the liver, it rules our veins, the arteries, and all of that. So be mindful of what you consume because it will expand that. So if you take to like negative habits, it will expand that. So be mindful of what you consume, what you drink, because it rules the liver. Also, Jupiter rules the thighs, then and also the hips, that hip part, because Jupiter, it's also a planet of travel. So you might be traveling to learn up about different things, about the different paths that you can take, the different approaches that are available to solve a certain thing or to manifest a certain thing. And, to move around, of course, we need our hips and thighs. So Jupiter rules that part. So you might be moving around a lot to get the information, to understand different theories and approaches available to manifest what your heart desires. Now, the next energy you have, even the second card, is Libra. And it says the scales. So Libra energy at play over here. Now, Libra is the only sign which is, which doesn't have a human or an animal presence. It's represented by the scales. And why the scales? Because this was the time of the harvest. The Libra time, like September, October, it was a time of the harvest. And people used to measure, they used to weigh that harvest against other people's commodities and other people's harvest. And then they used to exchange those goods and, commodities, whatever they were being and cultivating and harvesting. So they, in those yesteryears, not today, today also we do the same thing, right? When you go to the store, we measure our produce that we are buying and we pay accordingly. So all fair and square payments, there is justice, there is equality, there is fairness, there is, there's people, if there is no person who's going to buy that produce. So in those times, it was like an exchange of goods, and people were focused on having good relationships so that people would buy the harvest from them. And that's what the Libra energy is all about. Seventh house is all about partnerships. It's about staying, building harmonious relationships, being balanced with your dealings, and of course, the balancing the skills, because you need to weigh the goods against each other. So a lot of public interactions, speaking the truth, acting in the best interest of people, being honest with your intentions, being fair and square, following the procedures and all of that. This is also, ruled by Venus. This is also very artistic time, so getting creative. Commodities can be anything. It doesn't just have to be harvest and produce. You can exchange, in those times, it was an exchange for all kind of commodities, for art, and for all of the creative things. So that energy is actually here as well with this new moon. Now, Libra is about the kidneys, the diaphragm, and all of that. So make sure you're keeping all of that in balance. If you have any cold and cough infections, make sure you're taking care of it. Make sure you're not consuming anything that will cause any harm to your kidneys and the liver. So I do feel that your focus will also be towards achieving your goals, like we saw in the Jupiterian energy, but in a very harmonious and a balanced way. So not burning yourself out, taking periodic rest, being harmonious in your interactions, collaborating with people. That will also be at the forefront with these energies. And the last card in this series you have is the 12th house. So 12th house is the house of Pisces. For the collective, Pisces is 12th house, and it's ruled by Neptune, Jupiter. Neptune and Jupiter. And the 12th house. So it's the water sign, right? It's the mutable water sign. That's what Pisces is 12th house is. And it's, a house of spirituality, of deeper understanding, of depth, of emotions. And if you see now, the first house is the house of the self, and 12th, that the 12th means the part of ourselves that we want to show to the world. The 12th house is the house that we do not, the 12th house is the house that rules those aspects of ourselves that we do not want to show to the world, So when first house is the stage where we, go there, perform, and, people see us a certain way, 12th house is like the studio where we create in privacy, by ourselves, or maybe with a team, but not on stage, where we are doing the plumbing, the inner functioning, and all of that. So 12th house energy is impacting, is also active over here with this new moon. So now 12th house energy is also something that humbles us down, empathy, sympathy, compassion, sacrifice, faith, donation, all of that falls under the 12th house. So you might be feeling more generous, you might be feeling more charitable, and also you'll be very humbled. You'll be very humbled with the whole process, because 12th house energy is, generally it kind of tones down our ego and highlights the importance of, forgiveness, of being kind and compassionate with other people, especially if you're working with the team or creating with a group. This is also about our subconscious, our psyche, and, things that we learned over the formative years, specifically the years 1 to 10 of our lives, is something, those values that we develop, the understanding that we gained about the world and ourselves, and how we were taught, the conditioning, the early years conditioning is something that also will come to play now. Also, some of you would need to incorporate some kind of meditation or spiritual practices in order to relax, to, reflect. So meditative energies, spiritual practices is something that you might also incorporate while you are working towards your goal. Remember, the first card is about Jupiter, something our desire wants, and we are out creating. Libra is asking us to be balanced and, peaceful in our interactions with people as we create our reality or as we manifest our desire. And the third card, which is our 12th house, is about staying humble, grounded, and also working together quarterly, forgiving if there is small differences or disagreements, to forgive it and let it go, be compassionate, um, and to incorporate some, Zen and spiritual practices to keep us balanced all throughout our creative process and while we are achieving our goals. Now, I will read out the messages that are listed on these. On these cards, it says, the granting of relationships, seeking oneness with all there is. So I feel that you might meet like-minded people that connect with the common goal, or that have, similar thoughts or similar goals or similar upbringing, maybe similar. You might be meeting people that have spent their formative years in similar places and things like that, or maybe went to the same school or colleges for something like that. The next message here is blessings from the beauty of philanthropy. Exactly. So when you are giving, when you're generous, when you donate, charitable institutions and all of that, you will get a lot of blessings from that. And the third and the last message is good fortune. Do it with your partners and keep your involvement hidden. Yeah, so there is a luck factor here, good things coming, good fortune. I feel that when you work together, whether it's in your personal life, if your goal is related to your family, do it together, in partnerships, whether it's with your family or with your friends or even at work. That's when you will see the luck factor kick in. If you work with people, as part of a team, like-minded people, and keep your involvement hidden. So don't brag about it, don't advertise it, and don't take too much credit for it. If you are given the credit, make sure you share that spotlight with everybody that you're working with. So beautiful messages here for this new moon. Happy new moon to all, and hope you enjoyed your messages.